The former Mayor of London, Ken Livingstone, has said that if he is elected again next May, he will cut tube and bus fares by an average 7%. That would wipe out the 5.6% rise Boris Johnson will implement in January.
The current mayor says the increase is necessary to fund continuing transport improvements. Fares had been expected to go up even more, but last week the Chancellor found £136 million to keep fares down a bit. That said, Boris Johnson is still promising an average increase above inflation. But Ken Livingstone says he would reverse fare rises and reduce them further. Under his proposals, a pay-as-you-go tube journey in zones 1 and 2 would cost £2.50, compared to the £2.70 Boris Johnson has announced. A one-day travel card for zones 1 to 6 would be £14.75, compared to £15.80. And Mr Livingstone says he will return single pay-as-you-go bus fares to the 2010 price of £1.20, compared to the planned £1.35. Overall, the former mayor says his travel fares would save the average Londoner £1,000 over 4 years.
Now, a short time ago, I spoke to Ken Livingstone and I put it to him that after a London Tonight poll found him lagging behind Boris Johnson by 8 points, a cynic might think his fares promise was just a ploy to win votes.
Well, actually, a cynic would also say, well, I did this this will be the 4th time in my political career I've cut the fares, and each time it's helped turn the transport system around. Nothing needs to be put on hold in investment. Each year for the last 3 years, the Mayor has underspent the investment budget by over 200 million. We've got a huge pile of unspent cash coming in because we've got the highest fares in the world. My view is that you're in the middle of a recession, put that money back in people's pocket, they can spend it in local shops, it will help the local economy. You don't need to keep amassing fares which you can't spend.
But City Hall saying today that every single penny of the budget is accounted for. There isn't a great big pile that you can use to cut fares.
Well, that's a straightforward lie. Anyone can go online, look at the existing budget figures, the 6 months, first 6 months of this financial year. There is an amassed over £200 million surplus in the fares account. There was last year, the surplus was £728 million. The system always wants to get in more than it needs to spend because the bureaucrats like a nice, safe, comfortable margin. I just think in very difficult times like this, we shouldn't take a penny off people more than we have to. The Mayor's absolutely right to have frozen the council tax over the last 3 years. We should also try and keep the fares down. It's all money out the same pocket.
Well, you're saying that you would cut the fares next year, there would then be a freeze for the next year after that, and then it would be inflation rises for the last 2 years of a term of office. What are you going to do if there is massive investment needed? I mean, you've basically tied your hands, haven't you?
No. The investment is already all accounted for in the schemes I set up when I was mayor. This mayor hasn't started any new transport investment scheme except the cable car across the Thames. That's the only thing he started. If there were brand new, if he'd carried on with my plans to extend Croydon tram link up to Crystal Palace, or the DLR out to Barking and Dagenham, or build a new tram from Camden down to Peckham, yes, we'd be in that situation. I will start all those schemes again, but they won't be spending money on the ground until that very last year of the mayoralty.
Labour's candidate for mayor, Ken Livingstone, is speaking to me this afternoon.